I'm Katie Arroyo.
And I'm Laura Manasowicz.
And this is Pinky Promise. A podcast about growing up.
Just stop it, podcast.
We can't do it, yeah.
Wowzer. We have a great one today. I am so excited by our special guest. We're joined today by Kate Willett. Kate is a comedian, actress, and writer whose raunchy feminist storytelling is both smart and relatable. I'm so excited. Her new Audible original, Dirtbag Anthropology, is a cross between a memoir and a podcast, taking a look at the subject of masculinity and can be heard at audible.com/dirtbag. Kate is also the host of the podcast Reply Guys and can be seen on Netflix's comedy lineup. Welcome, Kate.
Well, welcome to your own podcast.
I love it.
But yeah.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
I do not know how to respond to a podcast intro, and I only just recently stopped announcing people like they were on stage. So
put your hands together for our next
Let's
guest.
hear it for our next guest.
Yeah. Welcome to your show.
Thank you. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about first relationships, which I love. This is a goodie. I love that a lot of folks want to come on and talk to us about their loves, which is always great for me.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to start with Katie. How's your first
So my first actual relationship was in 6th grade. And it was with this tall guy that wore a leather jacket because I was very emo, and I don't know if emo was even a thing yet, but he was like an outsider. And the extent of the relationship was that he was like, "Do you want to go out with me?" And I said, "Sure." And I didn't know what that meant. And then a few times he was standing in the hall and I would awkwardly walk up to him and give him a one-arm hug and then run away. And I didn't get much smoother than that until probably senior year of high school was when I had a first actual person that I had a normal relationship with, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good age. Also, I like emo 6th grade Katie.
Yeah.
That's fun to think about.
A lot of blue lipstick, fishnet stockings, combat boots.
In 6th grade?
6th grade was still, I wore a regular outfit of mine would be a Grateful Dead t-shirt and purple corduroy pants and Puma sneakers. So I was experimenting for sure.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was very hot.
warm weather.
Yeah.
I guess my first boyfriend was in 8th grade, and I was sort of like a consolation prize because in 7th grade I loved his friend, and his friend moved away in 8th grade, and I was like, I guess I'll date him and it will be an extension of his friend, and I didn't like him.
Turns out
I didn't like him. So that, fizzled as it does. And then I had one boyfriend in high school, which was not great. And then I didn't have a real, what I would say, relationship until I was 20. So that's it. That's me. Kate.
So I don't know. I was thinking about what was my first relationship really.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a guy in 6th grade. Let's call him E.
Yeah,
sure.
Mine will call C.
Yeah. So I had my first relationship was with E, and he was adamant that I should not tell anyone.
I love those ones.
I was extremely unpopular, and he also was, but I think I think that he was hoping to move on up in the world.
I was just gonna say, I feel like in every situation like that, it'll be two equally unpopular or outcast people, but one of them is ambitious. So they're like, just don't stick too close because I'm on my way up and out of here.
Yeah. Exactly. It was like he was ready to move up the ladder. And then so their relationship lasted, I think, only 3 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Who initiated it?
Who initiated it? I think he did actually. I think so the way it happened was both of our parents picked us up very late from school. So there was like a little crew of people who were in the after school care,
Yeah.
in our school. And so we all kind of became friends, at least to an extent. And yeah, there was this old guy that used to like be like the one supervising, and I would take walks down to the track field, and so would so we hung out there. Uh, there was another woman. She wasn't a woman. She was 11. What am I thinking? But
She felt like a woman.
She was mature.
not like a woman, but she was really cool and smart and mature. She was popular, but she was like one of those girls that was like popular because she was like so cool to everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the three of us hung out a lot, and I think it was her idea that we should date each other. And then after he had the blessing of someone popular, he was like, "All right, this is a good plan." So he asked me.
Let's
Been
make this happen.
anointed.
Yeah.
So he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I think we hung out like maybe 1 to 2 more times after that. And then I think he broke up with me also. Yeah,
Yeah.
3. It was somewhere between 3 days and a week later. It was a very short relationship. I I remember my next relationship, which was in 8th grade.
Okay.
I looked back on E and I said, like, I was like, that was like not even a relationship. We never even kissed.
Yeah.
And then I started dating. I transferred schools, and for like the first week that I transferred junior high, no one knew I was unpopular
Yeah, you get a
because
chance to start over, like
I got a chance to start over.
yeah.
And here was the thing about me. It turned out that I had huge boobs. And
As it turns out.
yeah, I didn't know that because everyone at my previous school was so fixated on how uncool I was that
Sure.
it like barely mattered that I had these, huge knockers. I was maybe 4'9" and already a C cup, so they were
You're living.
Yeah.
yeah, they were big boobs. And I was quite small, so there was a guy, let's call him. I'm trying to think because I don't know if I want to call his first initials D, but I feel like I want to give him a name that is like appropriate to his demeanor.
Okay.
So yeah, let's call him. What's like a good like edgy like popular guy name?
Oh,
Chad.
I always go with Trent from Daria.
Okay, so Trent.
Perfect.
It was funny. That was the first one that I thought of was Trent because I was thinking of Trent Reznor, who was like my first real crush. And
Okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so 90s. Not only am I like betraying my age, but
That's what we're here for.
okay. So Trent was in a band, and the band was like the 4 most popular guys at school. And Trent was not only in this band, but he was the lead singer slash lead guitarist of this band.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So he liked me. He had one of his friends tell me. Who I
Did
later
you
learned-
did you at this point feel like, holy shit, I have hit like the popularity lottery. Like I've transferred schools, I have huge boobs. This guy that is so popular, like my life is completely fixed now forever.
I was actually really nervous. I was afraid that I was gonna fuck it up, because like I knew inside myself that I did not belong in that milieu, as you would say. So his friend, that I later learned was also his ex-girlfriend. Her real name, was Ashley, which is important to the story. But I feel like there's enough Ashleys, so I'm not like,
Worried about that.
saying anything. So Ashley told me that he liked me, and then we met up and we're like, hey, and then we made out like that same day. And then I was his girlfriend for like a week. And then during that week, like all of the super popular girls wanted to be friends with me, because I was like Trent's girlfriend. So I was like the
Yeah.
coolest girl in school for like a minute when I transferred. and I got to go see his band practice and stuff. And then we made out like one more time, and he promptly dumped me after that because he said I kissed like a dog.
Oh
I
my
Aw.
probably did.
God.
I probably
Trent.
did, to be honest. I had never kissed anyone before, and I think that Trent had kissed a lot of people. You know, he
Sure.
was the most popular guy in school, so I probably was like licking his face and shit. I don't know exactly what I was doing, but I'm sure it was after the I was, and it was one of those things where he was like, "Have you ever made out with anyone before?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, only like 20 people." So,
Yeah.
um, then he like, he dumped me, and some of those girls were like still cool with me. But then he started dating another Ashley, who was the first Ashley's friend. And then after that, I was kind of like cut out of the group. They all thought I was a loser. And I made some friends who were like more on my level,
Like
like the
actual friends.
smart art, outcast weirdos. But I was really sad, and everyone in my school thought that I kissed like a dog. After that, that was the big rumor.
That's sad.
And also that I was a slut because I had let Trent touch my boobs. And
Ugh.
it was funny because he was literally the only guy that I had ever made out with or anything, but I had lied and said that I had hooked up with all these people.
He's
So it was
telling
just like,
everyone.
wow.
Yeah, he's telling
Yeah,
everyone
he's
your
like,
track record.
Yes, just hooked up with like 20 people. And so then like school got really, really uncomfortable for me. And like all of Trent's friends were like making fun of me all the time.
Ugh.
And it was like just all the most kind of like popular guys in our school.
I was gonna say,
Like
was it
really,
guys or girls or both?
the girls were like talking shit about me, and the boys were like actually mean to me, like writing shit on my locker, like bullies and stuff.
That's
Um,
awful.
there was this one guy named Kevin who was actually so cool. He was one of the guys in the band, and he was like always really nice to me. He always defended me, but then he got sent to juvenile hall. So after that, things really accelerated. I'm gonna actually look him up after this and see
Was
what the
was
fuck
he the
happened to him.
bassist?
Drummer.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
He's
man.
the bassist? Yeah. Knew
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, there was two guitarists, like a lead guitar and a rhythm guitar. There was a bassist, and then there was a drummer.
I find that the
So
drummers are often, in my limited experience with musicians, just as bad as the
Yeah,
lead
I
singer.
feel like the drummers are like the bad, like the worst ones.
the drummer was like a nerdy guy. The guy that was like the second guitarist, he was the prettiest one. He was really beautiful. He was cool too. And then Kevin was a bassist, and he was rad. But so anyways, I started getting bullied a lot because all of the like popular guys were against me. And I was getting bullied a lot, like for my boobs too, because I had big boobs and I had hooked up with theoretically 20
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like calling me a slut all the time, or
Ugh.
really picking on me.
That's
And
terrible.
How old were you at this point? This was like 13, 14?
I was
Right?
13.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of became like a loner. I had a couple good friends, Emily and Kim. We would hang out together and stuff. They were kind of like outcast losers too, but we had a really good time. But the bullying was really intense, and I like went to, I went to school, and I just had this feeling of like dread.
Yeah.
And so what I ended up doing was I faked getting sick so that I could have some time away from school. So I pretended that I had mono,
It's a month
Um,
out.
Yeah.
yeah, and then when I got back, people were like, "Where did you go?" And I really wanted to like revamp my image, to
Yeah.
be cool. And I had been listening to on this break like a lot of like, I was trying to get more knowledgeable about music and stuff. And at that time, grunge was very in.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Cobain was like had already passed on, but yeah, it was still like, it was
Right.
late 90s, so it was still very cool. So I had been listening to a lot of Hole, and I like idolized Courtney Love.
That's a good, yes, that's a good, like, get some female empowerment music around that time. Or Garbage. Garbage would have been a good one.
I was listening to Hole, I was listening to Garbage, I was listening to a lot of Liz Phair, Screaming Trees, just like a lot of the main, grunge bands, Nirvana and stuff. So I had missed like weeks of school, and people were like, "Where did you go?"
So how did you fool? I want to back up to about the illness. Did like you never got a test for mono? You were just like, I have mono and I need to rest, and your family was like, okay.
Yeah, it was acting really sick the whole time, and I was also like a good kid who had like good grades, So my parents like had a lot of trust in me, And I think that actually, so my dad was kind of like, he was always on a business trip and stuff. And my mom was like the kind of mom that even if she like suspected I was like lying, would have like allowed for it, because she was just like the kind of person that's like, if she doesn't want to go to school, she probably has a reason.
If there's a lie, there's a reason for the lie.
Yeah, I don't know. That was like both like a cool thing and a bad thing. But my mom is just like, whatever I wanted to do, she was like, I can see why you'd be interested in that. And I'm like, you really shouldn't like let your 13-year-olds like smoke weed in the house and stuff. But I don't know. She was very she's very permissive in a way, And so I had I stayed home for like a while, and then I came back to school, and people were like, "Where did you go?" And I had been listening to a lot of Courtney Love, so I decided to say that I had been to rehab.
Wow!
Yeah,
I love it.
So then this rumor got around that I had just come home from rehab.
Oh no!
And then word on the street was, not only was I slut, but I was.
I can't believe you started all the worst rumors about yourself.
My intention for this was like to just
like wow them.
Cool.
Yeah,
I wanted to like not be as unpopular anymore. But so I was a slut who had been to rehab, and then people like weren't allowed to hang out with me anymore.
Oh no!
Because like some of my friends' parents were like, she's addicted to drugs.
She's been to rehab.
Did you get specific about your
addiction,
created addiction, or did you just let it?
No, I didn't talk about what I was addicted to or whatever.
Sure. I think you can't ask that question, okay?
I think I like kind of like low key implied that it was heroin, because that was what all these rock stars were doing. I mean, this was so stupid. I was 13 years old.
I love it. Yes, but that's such a 13-year-old lie. Like the lies that what we think an adult would do is usually like, we would think at 13, like, I've made out with 37 people. And you're like, because that's what adults do, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. So I was like, at this point, I was so unpopular. Like, I was so unpopular.
What about your two friends that you were close with? Did they know the truth, or did they also think that you went to rehab? Like, did you cut off communication with everybody?
I don't know what I told them. I can't remember. I think I might have told them that I had been to rehab too. I think I was like not wanting to tell anyone.
Stick to the script.
Yeah. I think that's what I told them. Yeah. But I was like, don't tell your mom.
Yeah.
I need to be able to hang out
with you.
Yeah. And so there I am at school. Everyone's like, this slut who's addicted to drugs, huge boobs, very uncool. So I had like no friends. I did have those two friends, but like it was like a thing where like they alone were not like a bulwark against like any bullying or whatever.
Yeah,
especially because like they still wanted to be popular. That was the thing. This was like they were still sucking up to the people that were mean to me, because we were all 13. They were climbing too. You know?
So
And actually, Emily lived next door to Trent. They were next door neighbors. So they had been friends since they were little kids.
And then did they like split apart when he became an asshole?
No, they were always friends. Like he wouldn't like publicly hang out with her at school, but like they play basketball after school and stuff. They had been like friends since they were tiny because they had grown up living right next door to each other. So I didn't, Kim and Emily were both like, they were really cool, but point is like they were not like a defense against the boy.
Yeah.
They were just two other 13-year-olds who were trying to survive. And I think that they had their concerns about me as well, because they were like, oh, poor Kate, she's promiscuous, she's addicted to drugs. It's terrible for her. So at this time, I was in, honors classes, because that was like, I was like a good student, I was a pretty good student. That's
great that you were able to stay on top of all your schoolwork with being out of school for so long.
Well, that's what happens next, right?
Okay.
So I had missed so much school that I started like failing those classes. And so I got kicked out of the honors classes and put into the regular classes. But the like regular classes were where like all the popular kids were, like the ones who hated me. So I was
so you just went to the wolf's den.
Yeah, I was in the classes with all the popular kids, and I fucking hated it there. So I started failing those classes too. Then what happened next is I failed those classes, and my school put me in ESL.
What?
Yeah. So there was like, at that time, like the remedial classes
were mixed in with that's what our school used to do too, which like,
but almost everyone in the remedial classes was a non-native English speaker. Like, and they were in, I mean, it made no sense, right? The way that they did it, like, it's just because someone's learning a new language doesn't mean that they don't. But I don't know.
I think it was lack of resources, not understanding learning disabilities at that point. Like, I have personal friends. I have a friend who is 4 years older than us and then graduated with us because he had failed that much. And it turned out later that he, oh my God, what is it called when you literally cannot read? Like your words are...
Dyslexic.
Dyslexic. He was dyslexic, and nobody knew that he was dyslexic. But he had such like a charming personality, and that we would just like he would pretend that he was like failing on purpose, but like in reality, he just literally like, could not read stuff. But the school system was just like, oh yeah, that's just year 5 of being a senior, and then no one thought like maybe something's going on. Like that just blows my mind.
Yeah, it was so weird they did that. But so what happened was I did in the ESL classes finally meet like people who were like nice to me, and I learned a little bit of Spanish.
There you go.
Because I was in Southern California, and all my friends were non-native English speakers in Southern California, so they were my buddies, so I started dressing like them in a way that people would now consider cultural appropriation, but at that time, there was not...
You just wanted to dress like your friends.
There was not a lot of consciousness about that. And I had like a pretty good time.
What was your style before going to those classes? Like, were you like the flannel girl, like that type of...
I was the flannel girl. Yeah. I was the flannel girl, and then I became the baggy jeans with crop top girl. And then I had a good time in those classes, but after a couple months, the teachers of those classes figured out that I spoke English really well.
I can't believe this like whole story.
They thought you didn't speak English, or they just didn't know where else to put you?
they didn't know where else to put me, but it was just I don't know, it was just really clear that there was, like, a few people who were struggling for other reasons, but mostly those classes were focused on
Speaking
Learning.
English.
helping
Yeah.
people learn English, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it was a really weird, stupid mix. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
just because I mean, you could not know English and still be really good at other
Right.
Yeah.
things. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It was just it was stupid and pretty racist, I think, to kinda lump everyone together like that
Yeah.
because not knowing English
Not the
is its
same as
own
needing extra help, whatever.
yeah.
But yeah.
Also, having a learning disability is
Yeah.
fine,
Right.
Like, it's two
They're
different
separate
things.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I think this is my most controversial podcast appearance so far. Said a lot of things that I could get canceled for, but this is all really true. So, anyway, I got put after a couple months, I got bumped back to the honors
Because they were
classes.
on to your shit. They
They
were
were
like,
on
"You
to
know
my
what you're
shit.
doing." Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But then now,
And so
did you
then
stay friends with the ESL students, or did you kind of lose that friendship when you moved to the other classes?
no, I stayed friends with them.
Yeah.
Those were my friends for a a couple of years until I
Yeah.
got really into like freshman year of high school, same thing. I was friends with Kim and Emily, some of the people that I met in ESL, and it was just cool. It was all right, but everyone like it was just I don't know. I didn't really feel like at a place. I felt like I was kind of an outsider because like I don't know. I just still had a lot of people that thought I was a drug addicted slut. And so around like 10th grade, I decided to join the choir. And
Okay.
then after that, I was like a choir geek. And that was like where I really found myself. But
You're off to the races.
week long relationship with Trent, in which I kissed him like a dog, it was a very defining event for my
Yeah.
trajectory, to be honest with you.
It's so
Yeah.
dumb because like you talk to a teenager now about something that is like traumatic to them, and it's so easy to be like, relax, it's like one dumb guy, you'll get over it. But also that could ruin the whole rest of your high school experience based off of this one interaction.
Yeah, yeah, and I was definitely I was bullied a lot, even in ninth grade. But then once I found choir, I think it got a lot better because the thing about choir is it's really whole own insular world, maybe with a little mixing with the band, but just its own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Choir, the music kids, they got their vibe, right?
Yeah.
And so I did this. Those are my friends. Ate lunch in the choir room with everybody. Did choir after school, and that had its own drama, but the drama was like a lot more. It was a lot
Equalized.
more. It was just a lot more wholesome. The
Yeah.
Yeah.
choir kids were like very. It was very nerdy, very goody two shoes and stuff. But that was like working for me at that time because I decided I really wanted to go to college, and I knew that my family was not a family of means, so I knew that I would have to get a scholarship if I wanted to go to college, and so I was like really focused on applying
Yeah.
myself from that point on. And so the choir was a good place for me to clean up my promiscuous drug addicted past.
Yeah. Start the next chapter. I feel like if I was
Yeah.
a guidance counselor in your middle school and I was doing again controversial my job of looking at how the students were doing, and I saw like your trajectory of honor student to missing huge chunks of school to dropping from general classes to ESL classes. I feel like if I had like a helper poster in my room, it would be like, "This is a line to bullying."
Or something. This is a
We should
line
look
to
at this.
something is
This is
not right, whether it's at home or at school. Like, what's going on? Because
And like,
I
I don't
mean,
think a middle schooler is the easiest person to get information out of, right? Because like, I can't imagine being 13 and being sat down and being like, "Well, I did start rumors that I've made out with 20 people and have a heroin problem." I can't imagine saying that to
well,
an
no, that is
adult.
the thing, right? So the guidance counselors, I think, were the people who put me back in the honors classes or whatever.
Okay.
But I mean, I was in trouble with the school, because they had their
Yeah.
eye on me. They had heard that I was one of the drug kids, right? It wasn't
Yeah, you've been
true.
labeled a bad kid and
yeah.
no one does the work on figuring out if that's real.
Or even like
But
contacting your parents. You know what I mean?
well, I mean, I think I did get suspended once. I don't remember what for, but I mean, there was truth in it after a while, right? Because I'd have to like smoke the cigarette to like keep up with my image. I do remember bringing oregano to school once and saying it was weed. Um,
Did
but
your
yeah, I mean,
parents did your parents ever do they know about this now?
I don't think so.
Okay, so they
No.
they didn't know then either, I take it. Like, did they just think things just weren't going well, or like my parents were very performance driven, so I could have actually been on heroin, but as long as I was in AP classes and getting good grades, they would be like, "Keep it up, you're gonna get a scholarship that way."
I I think my parents were much the same. Also, when I was growing up, my little brother was seriously ill. He had a serious illness. So my parents didn't pay a lot of attention to me
Yeah,
because they were full up caring for my brother. So I was able to get away with a
yeah,
lot.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't really their fault at all. Like they definitely weren't like intentionally negligent in any way, but the fact of the matter was they had their hands full. So I was
Yeah.
able to do all kinds of things.
So
And
did
then
you
choir found you.
Yeah, thank God you found choir.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing, right? Is because like I don't remember what it was, but I went to this they had like a workshop sometime in ninth grade for everybody about like how to get into college, and the speaker was like someone from the UC system. And what she said was the only thing that the UC system looks at is your grades from 10th grade and 11th grade. That's how
Oh,
they calculate your GPA. So I was like still in ninth grade, and I was like, fuck, like I have a completely clean slate. Like if I want
yeah.
to go to like a UC school, all I have to do is do a really good job for these 2 years and nothing else counts. So that's what I did. I got in like all AP classes. I got almost straight A's. I was like a fucking 4.6 GPA student or whatever. And then I got into UC school. I got in Berkeley and I got a scholarship. And yeah, I mean that was like I had a singleness of purpose after that because I mean I definitely really wanted to get out of my home, not because my parents were terrible or anything, but just it was like it was a rough situation.
Yeah.
There it was very 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 stressful, and I also wanted to go far away from my school, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so I really applied myself and was able to go to UC Berkeley, and yeah, so that was kind of like what changed. I had another boyfriend. I was a budding bisexual, and so I think most of the people I had crushes on after like 10th 10th grade and on, ninth grade and on were definitely girls. So I didn't really like feel love, I think, until like much, much later, like in
Mm.
college.
Yeah.
That was probably when I fell in love for the first time with a lady. But yeah, I had a boyfriend like maybe 11th grade, senior year. I cheated on him a lot though. I decided that it didn't count if I was making out with girls. I didn't let him.
Whoops.
He had no input into the situation. I
Yeah.
mean, he was like, he was like, "You're cheating on me," and my attitude was very much like, "Well, when would I get this opportunity again?" If there's like a girl that's willing to make out with me, that doesn't happen every day, So
Was this a choir guy or was this where was this guy from?
he had graduated from my high school maybe when I was in 10th grade,
Okay.
and then he lived around the corner from high
Okay.
school. His
This
his
poor guy.
name was the same actual name as Trent. Um, and he was in junior college, and he sold weed to make money. Uh, so I thought that was cool because by then I was actually like kind of really getting into pot, not at the expense of school, but you know. So yeah, that was like a pretty serious relationship, I guess, in terms of like length of time. And um, our parents let us have sleepovers and shit, which I don't know. I'm not sure if I would let my high school kid do that. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah, I think I would be bothered by that now. When I was a senior, I had gotten into school and my mom and I had a scholarship, and so my mom and dad were just like, "Oh, you're done." They're like, "Okay, good, that's taken care of. Do whatever you want." Like they were like, "You're good. Okay, you got that scholarship. Apply for more." And they just kind of like loosened the reins on it because that was truly like their only focus. Um, but I like look at teenagers now and I'm like, I don't know that I would let you have a sleepover in my house.
I went to
I mean, I
one
guess it
boy-girl
depends on my.
sleepover in high school, and it was like, oh my God. It was like a huge deal. And then I thought I was gonna make out with a boy, but he made out with somebody else. And I think that's where my aversion to public displays of affection come from, because I got trapped between them making out, and uh I'm very competitive now. But like a boy girl sleepover, I was like, I've only read about these. I didn't think the day would come where I'd go to one.
There were a lot of boy-girl sleepovers in choir, actually. A lot. The whole choir would have big sleepovers at someone's house.
That sounds
But
fun.
yeah, a lot of the choir guys
I was gonna
weren't too
say the
interested in the
parents,
ladies.
yeah,
Yeah.
the parents are probably like, it's fine. You can let him spend the night. He can move in.
Yeah, I think that was the situation. Because it was funny though, because there's so many people that were like clearly gay, and like they are gay, like they're now married to same-sex partners and stuff. But everybody was like in this, you know, people were like, never say that or something. And some of the people were even like out to their friends, but it would be like, he's very wholesome,
Yeah.
because he's not having sex or whatever.
My cousin's, I don't know if it was her first boyfriend, but she brought him around and he was very gay. He's openly gay now. And we talk about it because I was 5 years younger than her or so. So I think I was like, or maybe so she must have been like in her 20s. Like maybe she met him at college or something. And I was like 18 or 17 and she was 23 or something around that age, or like 16, 17. I met him, like he came to a holiday thing and I was like, "Oh, he's gay." But I didn't say anything. I told my parents in the car later, I was like, "Her boyfriend's gay." And they were like, "Oh, he's just very wholesome."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure he's gay." And we were talking about it later and my cousin was like, "So everybody knew he was gay but me?" So I was just like, I think there at that time, people were genuinely naive and just like truly it was like not even on their realm of possibility. I was like, yeah, he's very gay.
I had this situation where there was a choir guy that I made out with in high school, and he told me he wasn't interested in me. And fine, I was a little sad because I liked him. But then when we were in college, he like came out and got a boyfriend and stuff. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like that's so
Thank
sweet.
God.
And
Yeah.
I no longer felt rejected. We kind of struck up a friendship.
Yeah.
We hung out. Turned out not gay, bisexual. I had really let my guard down with
Plot
him, and
twist.
he ended up being really creepy to me and trying to, like, really pressure me for sex, and I was not expecting it because I didn't
Yeah.
even think that he liked ladies, you know?
Yeah.
It was just all a weird event. I had to write his mom. I wrote his mom because he
That's how
didn't seem
creepy he
okay.
was?
Yeah, and I knew his mom because we were, she was, like, in the choir, the parents, chaperones and
Yeah.
stuff. So I'd known her for a long time. She was, I don't know, she was distraught because I guess this wasn't the first time.
What was he doing? Like,
Oh.
just, like, badgering you a lot? Or, like...
Yeah, and just blowing up my phone, saying he was
Oh.
gonna come to my house. It was creepy.
Ew.
Mm.
I think he was not well, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so those were my high school relationships. My first, like, real relationship was when I was 19 to, like, 25.
Oh, wow.
And that was a long time. We got
Yeah.
married.
You got
And
married, you said?
yeah,
Yeah.
not married anymore.
Yeah.
Definitely not married anymore.
And
I don't
then
know.
where did you meet this person? In college?
In high school, actually, she and me were friends, and she came out of the closet, and I came out of the closet, and then we dated each other, and then we got married. And I think that, it was this kind of situation where I think we felt like we had a lot in common because we had such a common life experience of, like,
Mm.
being in the same high school and both being,
Oh,
like, closeted bis, or she may identify as a lesbian.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm
So
not sure
she
how she
went to your high
identified.
school too? So did a lot of people from your high school go to that college?
No, she didn't
Okay.
even go to the same college as me. We had a long distance
Oh,
relationship
okay.
for the first few
Okay.
years, and we moved in together later on. And she was really, we really connected at that time, and because we were just, like, both on such a similar journey of, like,
Yeah.
discovering our sexual identity and, like, kind of not feeling this pressure of religion anymore. And it was cool. But then I think, like, once that was, like, not a thing, I realized that we didn't really have anything in common at all
Right.
underneath that, like, there just wasn't similar enough values or interests to hold a relationship together,
I
you
think
know?
that I've seen that happen sometimes, where especially if women are coming out around the same time where they're just like, "Oh, that's somebody that I can, like, share this secret with and then also share the experience of coming out together," that, like, bonds you so much that it could carry you for, especially with women and our desire to make things work. If you have two women, you're like, we're gonna make this shit work. Like, you'll keep it going. I think my ex-wife and I, like, I think we knew we should have gotten divorced years before we got divorced. And, like, when we did it, she was very upset, and then a year later sent me an email that was like, "Thank you for doing what I couldn't do." Just like, I knew that this needed to happen, but I just didn't want to give up on the relationship. Um,
Yeah, and I totally get that. I haven't really honestly felt anything similar since the, like, pandemic. Like,
yeah.
because it was a situation where I was in a relationship with a guy, and we liked each other a lot, but it was, like, pretty clear, like, pretty early on that we're, like, there were, some non-negotiable incompatibilities, really, and
Yeah.
I kept having dreams about my ex-wife, and I was, like, wondering why. But I think because the pandemic was, like, the only situation that I've ever been in with a guy where we were like, we must push through and, like, work out
Make
these,
this work.
you know,
Yeah.
make this work, right? Because, like, neither of us,
Yeah.
like, we really liked each other. I'm not trying to say that it was,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Right.
not, but it was, I think it was, like, this thing where we wanted different things out of life, and we were, like, trying to kinda put the square peg in the round hole, you know?
Yeah.
So
This
I don't
was
know.
yeah. Go ahead.
I just feel like I feel like I've been on, like, a similar relationship journey, like, the whole time. I haven't really had that, like, I still, I'm like 13. I'm way older than I was when I was 13 years old. I'm not gonna say exactly how old I am because I'm a woman in entertainment, but
So you're 25. So
it's interesting because a long time ago I was 25, and I'm also still 25.
Yeah.
So very
I'm
interesting.
having the same experience.
But I feel like on some level, on some like deep psychological level that I want to change, I am still pursuing trans. Like I am still like not him as a guy,
But that
him as
idea.
the archetype, the like
Yeah.
shitty like stoner guy who like is unavailable, overly.
You'll be the one to capture his attention.
Yeah, like he's in maybe there's a substance issue, or just
Yeah.
Better
sort of
band.
a general level of contempt for me, and I, I really like. I should have outgrown that by now, and I'm trying to. But here's the thing: is I feel like comedy has just like enabled me.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's an endless supply.
There's lots of trends all around you, and you are on a similar journey, so it's easy to imagine that you guys have something in common.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened, and then I'll like decide, okay, no more, I'm gonna date, someone who's not a
Brian's.
comedian. I'm dating Brian's, right? So I'll go out with like 10 Brian's, pick the best one, and then we'll give it a go for 5 months or something. And, they'll say something to me like, you should log off Twitter, or why are you out every night? Do you want to have dinner together? These things that I'm just like, wow, you don't understand me.
Back up. Gross.
Yeah, and then
I'm noticing I need so much attention that is normally fulfilled by stand-up, but simultaneously I need so much independence. So like I don't want my partner to crowd me, but they also need to give me all the attention all the time. So I will be annoyed if you're doing your own thing, but also don't crowd me.
I think that that's the thing too. I think that like the kind of men who are really attracted to me, they're like, oh, here's like a super busy person. She's always on tour.
Yeah.
She's just like, she's gone all the time. She has this thing that takes up like huge amounts of time and energy. So she's not going to be like needy. And I think the kind of people that are attracted to that are trans.
Yes.
And then the thing is I'm like, no, I want someone who is supportive of me being on tour all the time, but who will also pine for me and wish I was home.
Yeah, I need you to let me disappoint you all the time.
Yeah. I mean, right, like
made reference to like needing like he's like, oh, when I do this, like when you're not giving me enough attention or not paying enough attention to me, and I was like, what? That's what? I didn't know that went both ways. I couldn't imagine that someone needed my attention. I just was like, I just need all of it from you. Had no idea it went both ways.
Oh yeah, it's especially when you're in a relationship with like two comics. I don't know if your partner's a comic, but I would like, I don't know, two comics. It's like
that's too much psychosis for one relationship. I feel like.
Yeah, and I think especially with a male comic, there is this like thing where like the gender stuff plays out a little bit, where it's like it can be like easy for me to kind of be like, okay, well, I'll be in your show, and
yes, yes,
yeah. So I don't know. My current relationship thing is like, no more trends. Not a Brian.
Not a Brian.
Right in the middle. We gotta find someone in the middle.
Does it exist though? Here's the thing: is I'm like the people who are in the middle.
Will you find them boring?
No, like find them boring, but like aren't they happily married? You know,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Haven't they figured it out by now?
I do think that
Chris has done it already. I don't.
What I'm shooting for personally at this point is I'm looking for the man who has his shit together, but just got his shit together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like was very damaged,
but is in therapy for it.
overcame it. You know,
Yeah.
it
Moments
still
ago.
looks damaged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
you
he
want
was-
you want a fixer upper, but not a house that is water damage.
Yeah.
well, yeah, he was, he's been emotionally unavailable in all of his previous relationships, but is now ready for something new with me,
Yeah. So it smells like cigarettes, but the pack is empty, and we're not
Yeah.
buying anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, he's, his last girlfriend, really, she yelled at
She
him
did a lot of work.
We're so
That's the
grateful
thing,
to
right?
the last
It's like all of
girlfriend.
my, like everyone I've dated, definitely, definitely post college or whatever, like, especially on my, like, kind of, I don't know, past like 5 years or whatever. Like everyone I've dated, I feel like based on like the growing that we did together, they will be like a very good partner to someone else,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is fine. That's great. But I'm looking for a man that another lady did that for.
That's
Yeah.
right. Has already been fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're out
Yeah.
there. You got to catch them at just the right time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kate, will you tell us about your book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about your book. Tell us where people can find you.
So my book actually talked a lot about a lot of this stuff. Like, it's called Dirtbag Anthropology, and it's a combination memoir podcast on the subject of masculinity. And I wrote about my relationships with the men in my life, not just romantic, all relationships, family, friends, and how masculinity plays a part. And I also interviewed a lot of people on the subject of masculinity, including men that I'm very close to and some very smart people who are, in some cases, celebrities, and in some cases, just people who know a lot. And yeah, it was good. It was a really fun project. I've been getting really good feedback about it, which means a lot to me because I worked on this shit for like 2 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But yeah, all a lot of stuff we talked about today is in the book. So yeah, check it out. I'm at Kate Willett on Twitter. 2 L's and 2 T's. Kate.Willett on Instagram.
And she will not be getting off of either of those social media platforms. So
don't
follow
even
her.
ask her.
Yeah.
But we will we'll put all the plugs we'll link the book and put all of your stuff so folks can find out.
Yeah. If you're a Trent who wants to change for me, feel free to get in touch.
If you're ready for a change,
or if you're a Brian who has recently gotten into psychedelic drugs, one or the other.
Either one, reach
We're
out.
looking for a Brent. We're some kind of Brent situation. Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate having you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those stories, because I feel like a lot of people have I just feel like it's nice to hear from people who are successful and doing well, to know, like, listen, I have some shitty story, or I had a guy be shitty to me, and it's just nice, like, it's nice to have people share vulnerable stories too. So I appreciate you doing that.
And if you went to middle school with Kate and you thought that she hooked up with 20 guys and had a drug problem, you heard it here today. She doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I don't want to. So I want to be honest here. I did later in life become very promiscuous and have a drug problem. So
but
that did happen to me eventually, but not in 8th grade.
The timeline is all wrong if you think it happened in 8th grade.
Yeah, but I fixed myself. I mean, the promiscuity stopped with the pandemic, and the drugs stopped, you know.
They will
As well.
stop someday, maybe.
I am an extremely, 3 times a year kind of person. Yeah. At this moment. Yeah.
And that's that. Follow Kate, buy her book, follow Pinky Promise, leave us reviews, do all the things.
Yeah. Tag your friends in posts. We love seeing that. Yeah. And we'll have a great time, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.